Reporting from the belly of the beast, this is Crystal Myers-Barber.
And welcome, everybody. It's to Saturday evening here in Southern California. I want to thank you for watching my live video here and also for watching the restream. Make sure to like and follow me here, streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and X. Yeah, so I spent a good portion of my night last night trying to understand what is going on with these programs ending and just trying to, research what these programs are called, and how it's being implemented with the food stamps, which they've renamed it some nicer names like CalFresh out here in California, or I think it's SNAP is another nickname for it. And then there's the way they use the payment is through this card that's called EBT. And you've likely seen this on everywhere, grocery stores, you've seen it will take EBT. So it's just like a credit card for people that need this assistance. They are able to use it. We have seen on TikTok and a huge abuse of the program is now being revealed across socials. It's almost like, I mean, the government has been shut down since the 1st of this month. So we're at 25 days. So we're moving into uncharted territories with this shutdown. And what it's doing is revealing just much. And I know that there are a lot of people that really need this assistance. As a matter of fact, this is going to affect over, I think, 42 million people here in America that rely on this program that will not get assistance for November. So just in a few days, they are, not going to get their EBT cards loaded. And I have seen threats, like there are threats now with people naming days to show up at Walmart, let's say, and just rob Walmart. They're like organizing. This is insane. We're going to look at a couple of videos that I do have queued up, and it is like the parasites that are just living off of taxpayers. It's just disgusting. And I'm disgusted at watching, a lot of this. Some of these things that have gone viral, some of these videos are not all legit, but much of them really are. And with that, I'm going to take you over and we're going to watch this right now together. Just a couple things, because it's obvious when I go into certain stores that these people, they're using these cards for way more than food. And it is true. So I found some evidence and some vids here on TikTok.
She is telling the community, the EBT community, the reason why they're so upset that their EBT is going away for next month.
I won't admit this because I know how y'all are, but y'all aren't really outraged that the food stamps to EBT shit is about to get shut down. Y'all are really outraged because now you're going to have to take the money you normally buy weed, wigs, bundles, get your nails done. Y'all are going to have to take those funds and buy food now. And don't say I'm lying, because when y'all were receiving food stamps, you were selling the food stamps. So you weren't worried about feeding your children.
Well, this was the thing that I had finally put together and learned and seen that they're selling. I've heard about this for years. They sell it. So they're not using it. They're just basically abusing the system. And some of these people have been on for years because it's just there. It's supposed to be there to assist you during a hard time while you're getting back on your feet. But we're seeing the truth coming out on this.
But all of a sudden now, you're outraged. Oh my God, like, why we gonna feed our kids the same way you've been feeding them? Sleeping with that man. Get a few funds from him. Keep doing it. You know what I'm saying? Y'all ain't been worried about them kids and their well-being, but all of a sudden now, you are. Okay.
Okay, this.
So it's just basically meltdowns all over, socials, and I'll try to find some of the ones that I had seen. I'm not even quite sure.
I am so dumbfounded right now. There are people that genuinely think that people who use EBT don't deserve soda, candy, or desserts.
Okay, so this is another thing that the program has cut. They have cut out what she just said: soda, candy, desserts, and they have restructured the program so that there's only certain foods that will now apply. And I think they've also restructured it from the July signing of the big, beautiful bill that Trump that they passed. There are new requirements where these people have to, I don't think they had to work. Maybe they did, or there's something about 20 hours of work. I mean, so there's some restructuring of this program. However, don't worry if you live in California. Our governor has come to the rescue. He's such a hero. He's going to help implement, I think he is putting $80 million toward the needs of 5.5 million people. But if you calculate that out, that's like $14 a person. So anyway, it was a nice thought though. But moving on, I'm not going to really stay on that too long. It's just what I've seen is an abuse of the system, and right here in front of our faces. And as far as people qualifying, I actually have a disability myself. I never once have signed up for a government program for my scoliosis. And I definitely probably could, but I work. I've had a job. I actually work 2 jobs just to do what I need to do. And it's, I'm always like thinking of like how money, I'm business oriented, and it's fulfilling because I have purpose in life. And I love what I do for a living. And I volunteer this right now when I do videos. I am not monetized. I used to be monetized. So whenever I do any of this, I feel like it's a calling from the Lord. And I love what I do. So I think that this is going to put people back on track for their destiny and their path. And it's just going to wipe off, hopefully, some people that really don't need to be taking this taxpayer-funded assistance, because it's taking away from people that really genuinely need it. Because I have seen so much evidence where people they're fully capable of work, and they're just taking advantage. Section 8 has changed. We've had I think 3 drug dealers just moved right out of our community with the Section 8 housing being changed, which isn't that amazing? Praise God. I actually passed one of the people that was moving out, and the last thing she said to me, I got to get a job. I mean, she's like in her 20s, and this was what she basically had come to. So no more leeching off the system. I'm thankful for whatever changes are happening, and there's just a shakeup. So hopefully this can shake it up and get it to the right people. So this is giving people a chance to, just get into evil and align with demonic agendas, with like selling drugs. Because I know all these people that moved out, they were drug dealers, and they were right here in our community. And they're just everywhere. You see it everywhere. So a lot of this is being shaken up right now. Maybe President Trump knew, what he was doing here. He is abroad right now on a trip with this government shutdown, and it's kind of people they're not sitting well with that. I'm not going to get into that on this video, but I am going to come back and do another video. I'm going to cover where President Trump is right now with First Lady Melania. Has accommodated him with the trip to Asia, and it's pretty exciting stuff that's happening. But right now I'm going to go over, and we're going to talk about the second part of my video, which is how ads are showing up on your socials and how is this happening? Okay. So I got a little insight on this. I basically want to share this. Let me get out of this one here. let's see, just one second. I basically was looking up this soap. I was just on my computer, on my desktop, or where, looking up this new it's hair soap for your hair instead of shampoo. I was someone at church told me that this was a great option because a lot of shampoos have sulfates and everything. And by the way, this is not sponsored, and I'm just going, have not even tried it, but it just arrived. I did order it. But what was so troubling is I was just looking it up, and then within moments, my husband, who has a different device and is in a different area, of the house, he saw this exact ad. It just popped up, and we have this happen all the time. It's kind of funny. So if I look up something, he'll go, "Hey, were you looking up, such and such?" And I was like, "How did you know?" I'm not trying to hide anything, but it could be a problem, in the household. If, you're trying not to be found out about whatever you're looking for. And so I had to get some insight on this because it's just happening too much, and it's frustrating. It's frustrating because, how? And sometimes they're thoughts. And so this is what I found out with my research. If you're on the same Wi-Fi network, sometimes, you're logged in, you share accounts. We do share an Amazon account and Google or Facebook. We don't share, Facebook or Google, but we do use the same IP address. And so it's the digital ID of your home's internet. And so when one device searches or, I buy something, the activity can be linked to the same household identity. And in this case, it was Amazon. But it's strange because he wasn't on Amazon. He received the ad on Facebook, which was so creepy. And so I just think that's just so strange. So there's cross-device tracking going on where these big tech companies that really own us. I mean, they own all of our data, Meta, Amazon, just everything that you're on and looking around on. They are tracking our devices, and they're using these cookies, which are website trackers, advertising IDs on our phones, login information. So if you're logged in to Facebook on multiple devices, and I am, I have an iPad, an iPhone, and then my desktop, and I'm logged in there. So all this is cross-device tracking. I'm trying to make sense of this. And so if you browse or buy a product while you're logged into these devices, you may get data signals that someone in your household looked at that item, and it targets my husband's account with the ad. So that's a long way of just basically saying I'm being tracked, and whatever I'm doing can be seen on another device. And I wonder, how far this goes. And I know it's dangerous if you go to public spaces where they are always trying to get you on when you go into, let's just say the mall, or just a public place, and it says, oh, boom, it pops up and says you can get on their Wi-Fi. That's extremely dangerous because they could pretty much see everything. And I would not recommend ever doing that. And the Wi-Fi that's being used, let's say in coffee houses, things like that, not secure, not good. So we have basically, as far as demographic targeting and shared interest, this is what I found with my research by just us living together, me and my husband sharing a location. It says having similar search patterns, but I wouldn't really say that would be true when it comes to, let's say, shopping, but it could be true with interest and faith is the same. And so we would probably be looking up things like that. We do have an age gap difference between us. My husband is 10 years older, and he's extremely smart. But the advertisers may automatically lump us together as a household demographic, and Facebook ad systems will target both of us, assuming we might influence each other's purchases. And so it's just kind of strange. And I was just trying to figure out, are they listening, to us? And I think apps do. I did confirm that it does share data with each other through, and this is really crazy, through data brokers. Like, they're buying our information. So at the end of this, I'm not going to end without telling you how to get this off of your devices, how you can stop some of this. So Amazon is sharing a not purchased browsing data for ad targeting, and Facebook uses that info to serve relevant ads. So they're really profiting off of us. And I don't think that there's coincidences. I don't accept that. I think that this stuff is really intelligent, and it knows what it's doing. And so in order to reduce this stuff, and I have to follow my own steps here, we're going to turn off ad personalizations. And if we just look at Facebook, where I'm streaming live here right now, you could just put this into a Google or Chat GPT. How do I reduce being tracked? And you could probably get some information, and it'll pull it up step by step. But you can turn it off in your settings, ad settings. You also, on the where I'm on my desktop, I clear my cache or cookies and browsing history on a regular basis. And you can also go into private or incognito mode when shopping, which is so funny. So there's these, I've done this. It just takes you to this like whole browser, and you're supposed to be invisible, and that's kind of funny to see that happen. And so that's pretty easy to get to if you're on a desktop. Not sure about if you're on an iPhone or a smartphone. So basically they're recommending that you use a different browser. So maybe go to DuckDuckGo, although I know DuckDuckGo was bought. And so I'm not sure if it's so private anymore. But there are some ways to manage your data settings and turn off, especially on your smartphones. You can turn off use data and go right to your ad settings and try and just go through and turn a lot of these preferences off. And there's so many. I know when I get updates, they all seem to come back on. And so I think it's a constant thing that we have to be on top of in order to not be tracked as much. Now, there's another element to this, which is basically geofencing. And that's pretty complicated because you can't stop it. You're basically walking into stores and being hit with, ads just from going around with your device. And so it knows you are going in there. And so let's see if I can find some information. I'd pulled up a little bit on that, on geofencing. I was really getting frustrated because I would think a thought, and then I literally thought a thought and gotten ads about it. And so that's so unsettling. So I was like, are satellites, looking down at me? And so I had to reach out to Chat GPT, and they said, no, satellites don't monitor individuals. I'm sure it would never lie, right? That's not technically or economically feasible, they say. But satellites do observe large-scale activity like traffic, weather, agriculture, but they say they don't capture or identify private individuals in real time for marketing. So what is happening is what I mentioned about that geofencing. And so that is an ad technique that's being widely implemented. We may not even realize it. So apps on our phone. So every time we put an app on our phone, those apps are tracking us unless you turn it off. But when you walk into places, or let's just say you're in social media shopping, looking at weather, I have all of these on my smartphone. I have the weather app, I have the map app, that they collect your GPS, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth data. So advertisers, what they're doing is they're setting up these digital boundaries, and obviously they're invisible because it's all digital. And so let's say I went into a PetSmart or a mall or a pet store, and when my phone enters in that store, or we linger around that area, I can be added to a custom audience, and then I'll later see a related ad, which that would make sense. If I go to Trader Joe's and I come back home and I get an ad from that grocery store, I may understand it a little bit more, So basically, they're even saying that if you walk near the pet supply store, so if I'm just walking by, I'm being geofenced. Isn't that amazing? It's just really weird. So I started really looking into, will it tell me if we're being watched? Just like that song, I always feel like somebody's watching me. But it's basically denying all that. It's just basically saying that the data and habits and patterns have become so detailed that it can predict what you'll care about next. Okay, I don't know. I don't know if I'm buying this, but I'm trying to understand, and I'm trying to help people understand, because I know this is a question. So basically, the way you can get out of this is you can dramatically protect yourself and reduce this geofencing and add profiling by turning off location tracking. Okay, it says non-essential apps, but I try to turn them off, all of them, except you do use GPS. And so when I'm using this GPS, I am obviously being tracked. And so yeah, there's a lot that I think is happening with this type of thing that is going on. And so disabling ad personalization, you can do that, and you can disable your Facebook and Instagram personalization ads so that you won't be tracked. And as I mentioned earlier, you can use privacy browsers like DuckDuckGo, Brave, Firefox with tracking protection. Turning off Bluetooth and Wi-Fi scanning when not needed is also good. And basically, if you want to go deeper and understand how to not be tracked, you can literally get steps, and they will chat. For instance, GPT can walk you right through which apps are collecting your location data, and you can just go step and try to eliminate some of this. And so hopefully I've tried to explain some of this and get through this, because it's like I said, it's just really troubling, and it just feels like, to me, often it can read my mind, and to me that's very troubling. And I don't think that I'm the only one going through this. So let's see if I have any comments. As soon as I click this, my computer starts freezing up here. Sorry. Comments. Yeah. So I want to thank everybody for watching. I'm going to come back. I'm going to show you what President Trump is doing while the government is shut down here in America, while he is abroad, and what he's doing, what his plans are, what his itinerary is, and we're going to check out Melania Trump and see what's happening there. So looks like this is all for now on this subject, and please do let me know what you think about some of these topics I'm talking about. Are you being tracked, or is it just me?